Okay, we're back for the reviews. This time we're going to be reviewing the 1/6 scale Mondo Shira regular. Um, as you can see from the box, it's very pink and yellow and glittery and red. So that's it. What is that? Unicorn horn? No, it's not. It's some sort of a. Oh, I think this is the door to the palace playset that they had. Yeah, um, it's what can I say? This was a girl's cartoon, so um, oh, but there you go. That's the kind of cover that I was looking for. Just pan up a little bit here. Very nice. Just plain. Oh, and this one's better than because it's all color. Yeah, this is the artwork that that definitely comes up to me, and I really like that pose. I actually might copy that. I thought this was so it's not a slip cover. Okay, oh, because that was a slip cover. Let me go in and take her out of the box, and we'll go on with the review. Okay, so we have Shira out of the box. I gotta tell you, when I pulled it out of the box, out of the shipper box, I was surprised to find a white box, and I was very suspicious what it contained. I had to open it first, and I was right. It contained an extra set of head, or an extra head, and that made me suspicious, thinking it's like, why did they send me an extra head already? I mean, did they open it up and already saw that I'm gonna need a new head sculpt because the one they're sending me, it has a pug nose? Or are they just randomly, or not randomly, immediately just sending out extra heads out of the Shira regulars in anticipation that some of them might have a pug nose? I don't know why this is not. There you go. So this one's perfect. I think they're just sending it automatically now, just as a precaution if the one that's on the figure has a pug nose. I don't think mine has it, so I mean, thanks Mondo. I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but they just want to make sure, I suppose, that the unboxing experience is just clean, and that's good. I that was the one thing I was saying with Hasbro. You know, when you're part of the unboxing of the figure, the first time you see it is your first impression of the figure as you're handling it. So that's very important to. That's your first impression, you know. So you need that. Why did I buy Shira? I'm not really interested in Shira. I never watched Shira. I didn't even know that Adora was first the henchman of Hordak until she turned. But why did I buy it? Initially, I didn't want to buy the deluxe because I wasn't interested in the figure. But I kind of trapped myself, guys. I do this to myself. I trapped myself because when I first pre-ordered the deluxe He-Man, I was so I just needed to have the figure. I've never had a Mondo figure before, and I wanted to see the articulation. I wanted to see what it's like. That I went and purchased Hordak. He's my first Mondo 1/6 scale figure, and I kind of like the design anyway. He's a very menacing design. It was I think I got it for $180. It was on sale on Amazon, so I purchased it. Now that I have the deluxe He-Man, and obviously my opinion kind of turned when I first handled it. Well, once Mondo fixed the issue and sent me a replacement body, which gave me the opportunity to mess with this figure, because it's a spare body, I saw that the articulation issues that I had, having the arms kind of as much to the size as possible, was almost a non-issue, because that's not bad. I actually like that. So a lot of the issues that I encountered in the first review of He-Man actually kind of turned, because once I saw that their customer service and the support that they have was phenomenal, and I started looking at this figure again. I began to realize that if you look at the He-Man over here, a lot of the articulation is mostly hidden, making this almost as a statue-like figure. So this is almost like a movable statue for me. The knees are the only ones where you can literally see a lot of the articulation mechanics that they had. Like the up in the upper torso, you don't see it as much. The waist, you don't see it. The bicep, it's cleverly hidden within the muscles. So even though a lot of the articulation that I wanted, because I'm thinking of Mattel's Masters of the Universe line, a lot of the articulation was sacrificed to maintain the integrity of the design of the figure, and I kind of like that. Now, the only articulation that I do wish they still had was a side-to-side movement for the waist. If they could do that, it would be money. Then I would be so happy already with the figure. Anyway, going back to She-Ra, I began to really like the design aesthetics of the figures of the line, and there are a lot of pictures out there floating with She-Ra. That was really, really good. And since I already had Hordak, I'm getting Skeletor. I need to pair things up. I need to have Skeletor with He-Man, Hordak with She-Ra. And I missed the deluxe, but then all of a sudden they re-offered the figure as a 2-pack for Hordak, which when I said, well, I already have a Hordak, so I'm going to miss out on that one. And then Bob Fulkerson, I think he's the marketing manager for Mondo, apparently saw my review of their customer service and mentioned that they're offering this as a regular stand solo. And I'm like, holy crap, I'm going to go ahead and buy it. And I used the $50 credit they gave me. So She-Ra came in at $180, and they do free shipping, so that's perfect. So I went ahead and grabbed her. So let's go on to the She-Ra review. Sorry, I had to spend that 5 minutes because it really puts things into context for me. So the regular She-Ra comes with her shield, which is heavier than I expected. The scabbard for her sword, nicely detailed. The golden sword, which is kind of a disappointment because out of all the deluxe accessories, what I really wanted them to have was the regular painted sword. Everything else I didn't really need nor care for, because they make turn She-Ra into the toy feature, or to the toy action figure of the 80s, and I wasn't that interested in that. This is the extra crown or tiara. She comes with the palm open hands and let's see, closed fisted hands, and something holding hands, either her sword or her shield. She comes with this axe/comb. Yeah, you really don't want to mess with She-Ra while she's combing her hair. An extra set of long hair, which I guess we can test out on the freebie they put in. Huh, that's weird. So you just slot that in there. Oh, and then you slot that in there. And I guess we can test out the secondary helmet that they gave me. I'm assuming the secondary helmet is for this. Look at that. Oh, and this is for, you use this hair so that you can put the scabbard through, and you'll have it sticking out of her cape. So we're probably gonna switch this out later on with the other head sculpt. The one thing I did notice as a difference between the two tiaras is the paint application are different from each tiara. This one has a lighter yellow, golden yellow, while this has a deeper golden color, more copperish. Interesting. I do seem to prefer this tiara more than that tiara, and when I switch it out, I'll probably stick with this head sculpt, because I do want the scabbard sticking out of this hair. So let's go on to She-Ra the figure. Extremely feminine, yet masculine. I love the way that they did this, the musculature here. It's subtle, and yet it's there, so that's good. Let's kind of, let's see. I wonder. That's kind of interesting. Are these hands in the right? Yeah, they have to be in the right shoulder, right? Because you can see this. This is for the, yeah. Okay. I'm kind of wigging out because it seems like this muscle is more musculature and this is more bowed out. I would assume it would be the other way around. Like the soft part of the hand should be on the outer part rather than the muscular part being on the outer side. Anyway, I'll have to double check that. I'm pretty sure that should be okay. That should be okay. So really, this head sculpt really does pop. I mean, it's very cartoonish, but very well done. It goes in line with the He-Man sculpts. And you guys, you might notice that my He-Man's a little bit shinier. I did coat it with adult coat coating, but still a lot shinier than what I expected it to be. So I might recoat it with a different kind of material. But I did that in order to protect the skin tone because, as you know, Mondo's final finish in this one seems to be a little bit too matte that it scratches easily. So I just wanted that extra layer of protection. So I'm even though I'm reviewing She-Ra, I might want to hit her with a dull coat before I start messing too much with the figure. Very, very nice detail on the bodice. The artist was mentioning that he wanted an asymmetrical design, and I like that. It makes it a little bit more interesting, a lot more flow into the design of the costume that she has. I like that this is shorter than that one. It's very, what would have been a very plain design from the cartoon is intricate enough that it really makes it very, very interesting. Now, interesting note, this tiara, the color of the tiara does seem to clash with what's going on in, no, not necessarily. So the color of the tiara here corresponds with the color that they designed for the bodice design here. But the coloring for these and the shoulder plates and the waist more corresponds to the color in the tiara. I also like the fact that there's a two-tone color over here. Is there a two-tone color over here? There is. You guys probably, it's probably showing a little bit, a lighter here, darker here, lighter here. So very, very nice choice to make it so that the design is not just flat, boring colored. Okay. Then you have the design on her bracers, very well done, and then her knees. Yeah, so I really like it. She stands very well with the rest of the figures. It doesn't really evoke like the cartoon for me, so she perfectly fits in the Masters of the Universe you know, I'm like, when I see it, I'm not necessarily saying, oh, it's from a She-Ra cartoon, you know, girl cartoon, but no, not necessarily so. Fits very well with the figures. So she goes up so like that. Obviously, it's just single bicep. The hands go up and down, but it's on a peg, so you can easily choose whichever up and down motion you can get. The hands can go like so. The shoulder pauldron is kind of almost floating. It's attached to the straps, so it does have a feeling of like it's floating, which is good. So it's not hindering the articulation too much. So it's in like a hidden movement joint over there. The waist basically is cut through here, and it's hidden nicely by the belt, right? But look, this is what I'm talking about with He-Man. If I just had that much of a tilt, that would have been, because this is on a ball joint rather than a straight waist cut line. I would really like to have that with the male figures. But with the male figures, if you notice with the female figures, the body where that joint is done, it's almost a nice oblong, almost a circular shape. So that's possible. With the male figures, it's wider in the front than on the side profile. So I think that might be why they're having a hard time figuring out how to do that side-to-side motion. It's possible. Instead of a straight cut over here, they just need to make a bowl shape over here, and you should be able to move it. I really wish they'd consider that. Yeah, and then goes off to the side over here, restricted by the shape of the skirt. Squeaky clean, but you can move it. Not too much range motion. This should give us almost like a double jointed, yes, double bend. And then you have a side to side, up and down on the thing, and an ankle pivot. So it's really, like I said, this thing does have a very limited articulation. The other thing I would say is it's almost getting to the point that it's almost loose. And unfortunately, what I've noticed with some of the Mondo figures, I really wish they would consider putting in ratchets on their joints to prevent that looseness from coming in and ruining the play feature of the figure. Not the play, you know, like the pose feature, because it seems like it's a lot of friction, and the friction is usually degraded by the paint application. Once that friction on the joint loosens, it becomes a very, very loose joint, is what I'm feeling with Mondo figures. So if you guys, I would say that would be a criticism for future production. If you can add like ratcheting to the joints, that would be great. This, please change your base design. I know you guys are probably proud of the fact that you have the Mondo logo underneath there, but it's just so inadequate for your figures, because your figures tend to display well when their legs are kind of spread out. And I'm going to tilt this really quick down for She-Ra. This is She-Ra, and you can see that, man, I can't even tilt this down, sorry. This is for She-Ra, and you can see that her legs are barely within that base. So for male figures, that's even worse. For male figures, they tend to step out of the base, which is probably what you're seeing with Hordak over here. So please, Mondo, redesign your bases. Don't do this cloud-shaped thing anymore. And if you're really that proud of your logo, make the shape of the base at least not clouded like that, because it's hard enough to stand your figures, because sometimes your ankle joints are getting loose, and it's harder to make them stand if look, if they're barely within the width of your base. So this is not a fun thing to be doing, trying to get your figures to stand. So, oh, and I forgot to mention that it does come with, obviously, a cape as an accessory. So let me switch some things out. Let me put on the scabbard, and I'll be right back with my final thoughts on this figure. I decided to show this part of the video where I'm changing the head and all that stuff. I've never done it, so this is the first time I'm doing it. From the He-Man experience, I'm kind of holding it to the upper body now, so that I don't want a chance of this thing popping off. And let me just study where I want to put this thing up. I know that Pixel Dan was strapping the cape to these. I don't want to do that. I want to strap it in between these two. And I know it's going to be a hassle because there's barely any kind of space in there, and it's going to rub. But if it rubs that way, at the very least, whatever rubbing is going to occur is going to be hidden. First thing I'm going to do to make sure it fits is to widen these clips. These are too tight. I don't need this to be that tight. Okay, that's good enough. Now what I want to do is first look. So this apparently, this apparently closes in like so. Okay, I'll do that later. Cape first. So I'm gonna lift the pauldron so it's away from the skin, and I just clip it. Look at that. It's much more secure than what they were doing, what other people were showing. This is already so much more better than the other one. Now, is the scabbard supposed to be? So again, lift out of the body and just like that. See, a lot of people were having a hard time doing this because the clips were just way too close together. That's all it was, preventing you from sliding it in that position. And then I guess I should have done the scabbard first because now I can't see. I'm gonna move the arm out of the way. You believe I'm having more problems with a scabbard than the cape? If you guys are having a problem with the scabbard, it's because this belt is not yet completely inside the clip of the scabbard. That's why it's coming off easier. So you need a tool that you can use to push that belt into that plastic clip. It's a big hassle though. Now it's in there. That thing's not gonna move now, as you can see. Okay, and as you can see, I'm like fidgeting with this thing. It's not coming off. Now let's see. Did I position that scabbard too high? Should it have been in a lower position? I don't know. Okay, like that. Escape like so. Close it a little bit. And let's put on the head that I like. Whoa, look at that. Oh, came unglued. Came unglued again, Mondo. You gotta talk to those guys in the factory and figure out what kind of glue they're putting on. I know I'm putting a lot of pressure on the TR and everything, but you have to, because you have to put that head in. I'm not too worried because I'm gonna use a different, stronger glue for sure than what they did. So the factory that you guys are putting this out on, Yeah, tell them that, guys. Glue is cheap, man. Don't cheap out on the figure because of glue. Come on. All right, let me glue it up really quick, and I'll be right back with the final thoughts. Okay, we're back. I know the figure's not there. I just wanted to show you that pose over there as a reference, okay? And also, before we start with my final thoughts, I just wanted to show how I have this hand kind of curled around this leather strap. I like the material of the leather. It's big and wide, and at first I thought that's too wide. That's not gonna fit properly into the palm of that close grip. But as you can see, I kind of pried it open and I opened it up, and it looks good. It looks like the material is very supple, very bendable, so it basically folds around inside that fist, so it looks pretty good. So without further ado, let me pause really quick and let me put the figure in. Remember that image. And there she is with her power sword held aloft. I really do wish this had been the proper gray sword, but as you can see, I basically mimicked the pose from the poster because I really like that pose and it works very, very well. That's how I have my He-Man pose, at least my regular He-Man, and that's how I have my Hordak pose. Now the Hordak cape is not wired. I put that in myself. If you guys want to know how I did it, it's in my Hordak review. I'm very sorry that you're going to have to watch through it in order for me to explain it. It's a lot different than you think it would be, because this is a 2-ply cloth and it's billowy inside. There's a lot of room, and I had to figure out how I can put the wire in without anyway, just watch the video. So one other thing I have to do is I have to comment on this cape. Whoever designed this cape in Mondo, you did a great, phenomenal job. The choice of the wire gauge, the choice of the cloth, it's the first kind of wired cape I've ever experienced where I would call this a sculptable cloth cape, the way it was designed. You can literally sculpt the material so it's not fighting you. The wire gauge is just so thick enough that you can sculpt it. It's very malleable, but once you put it in, it doesn't have any kind of resistance. It's not encountering any resistance from the cloth so that it's fighting you. Like all these folds that I was able to achieve, that's only because of the cloth. I literally copied the shape of the cape on the drawing because of the wired and the kind of cloth that they did. So phenomenal work on the cape. Mondo, please do this kind of cape system and wiring for all the rest of your caped figures, like Hordak over here. There's no reason why you weren't able to pull this off on Hordak. Okay, now final thoughts. As you saw, one of the tiara wings broke off. Please invest in some good glue. Make a contract with Gorilla Glue. Okay, it's an easy fix, but now my eye is drifting towards that thing that broke off because now it seems like it's on a wrong angle. Oops, don't fall, Shira. Like it should be closer in, and you know, it's a minuscule angle that I really shouldn't have to be. That really looks wrong. All right, I'm back. Okay, now that I'm back, please, Mondo, redesign your base. This is absolutely terrible experience. You know what the difference is between a good base and a bad base? Look, I'm not even. That's just a simple crotch grabber. Look at how much more stable your figure becomes because of that. And it's just a simple oblong shape, wide enough that it actually sits the 2 feet of your figures. Look at Hordak. He's not on that stand. He's leaning on the box. I hate this stand. And you guys have to change that. You have to redesign it. It's awful. Awful. Anyway, so as I was saying, the tiara, another issue is that glue thing. It's an easy fix, but now my eye is just basically transfixed whether I did that properly or not. I think I might have to kind of fudge with it. And I'm not a very picky guy when it comes to what's wrong with the figure. I love this figure. I really do. The design quality is good. I didn't have any issues except for the tiara. That's much more bad for the experience. I love the cape. The cape is phenomenal. The the design of the figure is exactly as I would hope for. I no longer wish for more articulation. I can see now the sacrifice towards articulation so that the overall design of the figure is intact and maintained. I love this. I love how this looks with her brother. I love how this looks with Hordak. I don't need them to be in some sort of extreme action pose. It pulls it off very, very nicely. I'm not playing with these like I was a kid. I like the fact that they look like statues, but then I can change their pose a little bit to make it more menacing, like He-Man back there, or just more heroic, like He-Man in the front. Okay. Now these figures do tend to fall over, as you saw. Yeah. As you saw right there. Thanks for the demonstration, He-Man. These guys really do need a base. If you don't want to spend money on an intricate base where you have like the Castle Grayskull footsteps, just get some of this. Just give us something like that, okay? I'm gonna have to buy it off eBay just so I can to make sure that they stand. But I shouldn't have to do that, okay? You guys are doing such a great job on this that I am fully invested in this line now. If you can change the base, perfect. That would just make things so much easier to pose with these figures. But I am fully invested in this line now. I am gonna get Skeletor and Battlecat as I promised before. I have some money invested in the line that I'm thinking of spending. I kind of hedged on Trapjaw because I was waiting for the results of your replacements and how you treated me, and I wanted to see how your Skeletor looked, see if I was going to invest in it fully. So now I do regret missing out on Trapjaw. I hope you're gonna release it as a regular, and I hope that the head that you choose not to give us is the one where he's not Trapjaw yet, because I really like both faces. So please keep those two faces, the two Trapjaw faces, in their regular release, and I'll purchase that as well. Anyway, this is it for my review. Is this a buy if you're only invested in He-Man and Skeletor and the regular He-Man line? Well, if you love the design of Hordak and you need to get Hordak, and I mean, like, how can you not love that design except for the fact that it's leaning, then you need to have She-Ra, because you need to have the hero counterpart of Hordak. You can't just put Hordak with He-Man and Skeletor. That doesn't fit. And even though this is for the girls and the female population when it was designed, she is designed well. She fits right into this toy line. Look at that. That's not cartoonish or toyish at all. That fits in as a heroic female counterpart to He-Man. There's nothing feminine. No, well, yeah, it's feminine in the design, but there's nothing girly about it. I should put. You know, it's when I think of it, it's the Princess of Power. Technically, it fits. This design fits her very well. So I'm glad that they offered it again regular. If you get a chance to buy it, buy it. If you're in the multi-line, if you're thinking of going into this line, you need to get her at least. So you can have He-Man, Skeletor, She-Ra, and Hordak, and then if you don't go into the rest of the Masters of the Universe line from Mondo, you should at least get these 4 figures. Okay, that should at least finish your Masters of the Universe line. Thank you for watching. I hope this was helpful. I really hope that cape thing helped you guys out, because I know there's a lot of issues in the cape. I'll spray paint this with the matte from Mr. Handy, Dr. Clear Coat, whatever. I'm going to try that because I do want to keep the matte finish and keep it dull to protect the skin tone, because I want to keep the skin tone intact. So thank you for watching. I hope this was very helpful. Please, Mondo, change that base, change that base, change that base. Thank you very much.